deity worship.
Sorry.
So, for example, in Arya Samaj, they say, or one of our acharyas, family acharyas said कि आपने ये जो कृष्णा की मूर्ति रखी हुई है मंदिर में, और आप जो कहते हो कि मैं इनको प्रसाद चढ़ा रहा हूँ या जल रख रहा हूँ, क्या वो मूर्ति पीती है? That's what he said. So then he said ki, so if you, well, the intent is very nice. So if you want to offer anything to God, in Vedas, it is said that yajna is the best thing to do. So, the mouth of the God is actually Agni. So when you, जब आप अग्नि में सब डाल देते हो और थोड़ा सा प्रसाद भी डालते हो, तो वो automatically it reaches. So that's the logic he gave. Okay. Now, if you think from rational mind, I think this logic is fair. That क्या मूर्ति पीती है? Now that's where I'm coming from. आपका premise क्या है? If you think that this is only a murti of stone, then probably that logic works. But I think with what intent I'm serving. So if I look at that idol in my temple, not only as idol of stone, but I relate with that as really Krishna, and I believe that Krishna is there in deity form, then I think what the previous person said makes sense. That if I'm giving something, if somebody comes to me and I will do anything to welcome this person, why would it be a waste? I never think about that, right? So if I have that belief that this is not only a idol of stone, but this is actually Krishna here with me, then I should not get this feeling that I'm wasting so much of it, because I will do it for anyone, and if I'm doing it for everyone, why not for God who's given us everything? So I think it's the premise with which we work.
Excellent. Yes, perfect. So, Srila Prabhupada, once he went to LA, and devotees had got a very expensive Cadillac. I don't know which what brand it was, but yeah, they had got this amazing, limousine car. Sorry, not in Cadillac, a limousine car they had got to welcome Srila Prabhupada, to receive him and take him, drive him to the temple. They had rented that car. So one reporter, she asked, what do you think your disciples have arranged this such an expensive car for you, right? What do you have to say about that? You are supposed to be renounced. So Srila Prabhupada said, oh, what do you speak of this car? They should have actually bought a golden car made of gold, real gold, right? So then he established the principle that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has to be worshipped with the best things, right? I personally can go, walking also. I'm not attached to it's a golden car or it's a, limousine or it's some small car. I can go walking as well. But as disciples, their mood and attitude is correct. Because spiritual master is the representative, he's not Supreme Personality of God in himself, but he is the representative of God. And he needs to be worshipped as good as God. So if they've got this, expensive car, it's fine. As they're offering, they want to offer the best, right? Like you would want to offer your own child, the best things, right? There you won't spare any expense. You won't feel it's a waste, like he was just describing, right? When you understand this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who's mercifully come in your own house, when you understand that he is the controller and master of everything, what can you actually give him? Right? He owns everything. It's his. We're just kind of redirecting and offering it back to him, right? So that's one. Second, I want to kind of quickly touch upon a story. So once Lord, and I think I've mentioned this, but for sake of everyone, I'll do it again. So once Lord Shiva and Parvati, they came down and they were kind of moving in disguise in one of the markets. And Mother Parvati, she saw a beggar suffering, and she felt a lot of compassion. She thought, oh, he's in such a terrible condition. Let me help him. So Lord Shiva understood, and Lord Shiva, he said that, even if you try, you won't be able to help him, because this guy has karmas which won't allow him to, receive anything that you give him. So she said, no, at least I should try. He said, okay, fine, go ahead. So what she did, she took some jewelry and put it inside a watermelon. And while everyone was passing by, some people were giving maybe a small coins. Mother Parvati in disguise along with Lord Shiva came and gave him this entire watermelon. And when she gave and moved ahead, Lord Shiva again told her he won't be able to enjoy that. And what happened in course of time, this person, he, when, and I'm cutting the long story short, he actually exchanged it with someone else. You take this watermelon and give me some bananas. And that those jewelries, etc., everything, all the wealth which she wanted to give him, actually landed somewhere else. And this guy could not even eat those bananas because by will of providence, something else happened. Then, he lost his bananas also. So that's how karma works. And even if you try to help, even if all that charity goes right, you may donate it to some institution for welfare of poor, etc. First of all, we don't know how they use it because it's Kali Yuga. Not everyone does what they say. What to speak of, charitable institutes, even temples for that matter, or religious places for that matter, may not use it exactly how you wanted it to or intended it to be used. So what we can do best is, and then a second story. Sorry, this was one, and second story is, so there is a mother, and she wants to correct his child. Now, the child is very notorious. He is not listening and is creating a havoc or chaos, and he's actually troubling others. So now the mother is determined to teach him a lesson so that he doesn't repeat, or rather, he focuses on his homework and he's almost about to fail in school and he's been playing all day long. So mother is determined that no, today you're not going anywhere. There is a punishment for you. You have to sit in the room and study. And unless and until you finish studying, you won't get any food also. So she is showing strictness because everything else has failed so far. And she's showing that strictness so that the child learns a lesson. One episode and he'll come to his senses, or maybe two episodes and he'll come to his senses that mother is really serious. Now, what happens is, while this punishment is on, right, the mama or brother of the mother comes, and he comes to the house. He says, "Hey, why is this boy so serious and studying? And what is his problem? Yeah, he should play. He should be happy. He'll be enjoying." He goes and tells him, forget the studies, eat. Right? He gives him some food, some chocolates, etc. Right? So is the mama helping, or is he helping in real sense, or is he actually causing a disturbance in the lesson that mother wants to teach him? Yes, everyone.
No, he's not helping.
He's not helping, right?
Yes.
He's actually spoiling the child, right? Even
Yeah.
without knowing, he's literally spoiling the child. The guy was about to learn a good lesson, and he would have been uh, sorted for good time, but now it's actually a disturbance in the teaching or learning. So this is what we do when we think, or when we try to, array, let me give 1,000 rupees to a beggar because I am the karta dharta. I am someone who will change his life with my 1,000 rupees or my 10,000 rupees, etc. Right? We think like that. So we are literally kind of coming in way of punishment. And still, I mean, here the mama could feed the boy. When we saw the previous story, even if you give, if his karma is not there, he won't be able to enjoy it. He'll still suffer. And if you give money to a beggar, if he goes and drinks a cigarette or a bidi, or what if he, you know, purchases meat and eat, right? So that karma, although you intended to do good, comes to you also. Blood donation kar liya, right? And the person who received the blood now is in full strength and he goes home and beats his wife black and blue, commits crimes on the street. That karma will come to you also, right? So not that we are discouraging from charity or we are discouraging you to not do good things. Sure, continue, it's good. But at the same time, be aware. And when we actually give to God, right? When we, so like someone said, Krishna, he's actually accepting the food, he's accepting the bhava. is bhavagrahi janardana, right? When you offer the food to the Lord, he glances through his eyes and accepts the mood in which you've offered. And then the remnants are there to be distributed as prasad. So what we offer to the Lord is called bhoga and not prasad, right? It's bhoga for the Lord. And then you also receive it back, and you're free to distribute it, right? The flowers offered to the God or to the Lord is actually distributed to the devotees, and the devotees relish those flowers for so many days. Some people keep in their book as a memory that, I received this from Radharaj Bihari, or I received this from Radha Madhav, or I received this from Chaitra Mahaprabhu, like that. Yes, you want to say something?
Devotion says when you smell sort of.
Yeah. So a very important point. Yeah. So nectar of devotion, it describes how when you smell the flower which has been offered to the Lord, right? Just by the act of smelling, uh, karmas of millions of lifetimes are like burned out like this. So imagine so much suffering is avoided just by smelling a rose yourself and offering it to someone else also to smell it. You are actually, what will your 10,000 rupees do? You're actually cutting karmas of lifetimes just by giving a flower offer to Krishna. Yeah, and even the flowers which are offered to Krishna, right? The jivatma which is there as the plant, which the flower has been plucked. Even those get benefited when it's offered to Krishna. Even they have, they jump the evolutionary cycle and immediately get a human form of life, so that they have a chance to serve Krishna. So it's like I said, it's an entire ecosystem. It's a lifestyle, right? And in fact, if you study the Vedic lifestyle, it is most perfect. There is nothing which goes to waste. We are not people who will use something and throw it. We are people who will use, recycle, reuse, mend it if it's broken, and still use, and then then when it's actually not usable at all, then it's gone and recycled in nature. And we use natural things also, so it's biodegradable, etc. But yeah, that's the idea. I mean, we offer it to Krishna first, everything and anything, and that's the best use of everything that you have. Is that okay? Any other doubts, Sujata Mataji, and I think others?
Yes, what if they don't read the books when we give them?
That's okay. So Prabhupada said these books are like spiritual time bombs. So if not the same person, someone in his family somewhere will read the book. So there was this guy in Delhi. There was this guy in Delhi. I think I mentioned this earlier, but somebody gave him a book, and he came home, and this person's father, he was very very anti God, and he saw this Bhagavad Gita. How did this Bhagavad Gita come in my house? And this is I think somewhere in North India, maybe in Delhi or Chandigarh. If I'm not mistaken. So he picked up this Bhagavad Gita and threw it out of the window. And what happened was, after 2 months, there was this person in the building. He organized a festival where he had invited devotees, and he also invited this family. Please come over. Although the father was anti God himself, but he was a social person, and he kind of wanted to not say no, and keep the respect of the person from the building. So he said, okay, fine, we'll also come. So this man with his daughter, who actually had originally got the Bhagavad Gita, they also went and attended this program. And the entire nice Kirtan program happened, the class happened. And then this person, he said, oh, before everyone leaves, I just wanted to kind of share what happened with me, right? And maybe this inspires others. So he said, I was so morose 2 months back. I was about to kill myself. I was really contemplating. I was sitting downstairs, in the society chair, and I was contemplating, what to do in my life, because from all fronts I was facing so many issues. And then I looked up and I prayed to God, please, God, help me. And as soon as I said that, there was a Bhagavad Gita which landed in my lap. And, I started reading that. And, I immediately got connected to the devotees. I figured out where the local temple was. And now I feel so happy and satisfied that I want to share with every one of you all. And therefore, I've invited you. So the father was stunned. I was like, this is what I did. I threw the Bhagavad Gita. And then his heart also got changed. He saw how Krishna works so wonderfully. So any book you give out, Prabhupada says it's a spiritual time bomb. Not just 1, 4 or 5 people with each book is benefited. So you should not hesitate, right? Let Krishna do the work of how he will inspire whom to read, right? Your job is to go out there and give out the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada in the form of these books to others. Is that okay, Madhuji?
This is Lord's mercy.
Yes.
Yes, I do agree.
Okay. So,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts or doubts, or if there is any reservation still, how we should we serve Krishna and everything is taken care of, or should we serve mankind that is better? Any doubts on that we can still discuss. Else we can move on to our session today. Okay, so we start our discussion. In between also, someone has any doubts, please feel free to stop me and ask. Okay. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, verse number 34. A quick recap of what we discussed last time. Anyone remembers? Anything from last Saturday?
Dedicate all the work to the Lord with full knowledge and without thinking any profit, and free from lethargy.
Yes. We saw the art of doing work, right? So what all it is again? Without detachment. Without attachment, not without attachment.
Military discipline.
Military discipline, yes.
And professional, devotional, and humble.
Yes, perfect. So this has been encapsulated as how we should work. We should work in a very, very professional manner, right? Do everything pakka, right? Not to be lax or lazy. Then devotional, offer everything to Krishna, right? That's devotional. And then humble, that, oh, I am not the doer. Krishna is the real doer. I am just an instrument in the hands of Krishna. And Krishna chose me for this. Right? Okay. Yeah, and also we saw how people who disregard this are less intelligent. They don't achieve perfection, and all their endeavors are ruined. Yeah, we saw that as well. And I think, yeah, but those who out of envy disregard these teachings, do not follow them, are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the 3 modes of material nature. 3 modes. What can repression accomplish? So I think last week I stopped here. We were discussing how everyone acts according to their own nature acquired from the 3 modes, and artificial repression cannot do much, right? Still inside you will be attached to the same thing. So let's see what further Krishna describes. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यास्ते
ragadvesha vyavastitau
रागदेवासो व्यस्थितो
tayornavasham agachet
तयोर्नावशम् आगच्छेत्
tauhi asya paripantino.
तौ हि यस्य परिपन्थिनो.
Someone would like to read the translation?
Yes. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self realization.
Right. So it says there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. Very interesting. So principles to regulate attachment is understood that okay, we should not be too attached. Why aversion? Right? Principles to regulate attachment and aversion. So why we need to regulate aversion pertaining to senses and their objects? Yes, Preeti. I think you have your hand up.
I had a question actually from our previous discussion. So,
I just noticed your hand, so okay, you
so
can ask your question.
yeah, actually, my question was that, last time when we spoke about that, how should we serve? So we said it should be professional, devotional, and we need to be humble, right? And devotional means that I'm detached with my results. So I just wanted to
I
share,
offer the results to Krishna. Yes.
yeah, but and which means then you should be at peace. Okay, so I just wanted to share, I tried doing this honestly. Last week I had a very high stake training and I was very anxious about it, though I did my best in terms of preparation and everything, but I was still very anxious. And I was so anxious, and I think this has happened after a long time with me, that I started seeing the impact of that anxiety on my body. So and I tried doing everything possible. I chanted also, and I said, okay, I don't want to be worried about the results because I will offer it to Krishna, and whatever happens happens. But I think this was only at mental level. At experiential level, I could not practice this detachment. And I think throughout the training, it was divided into 3 days. Yes, I was doing my bit. Yes, I studied. Yes, I re-looked at what else I can do. But I think I was continuously thinking about the result, and I could not think, I could not experience that I have, I'm detached from the result, or I've surrendered it to Lord. I could not do it practically. So I wanted to share that, if you can help me somewhere.
Sure. Okay, with my limited intelligence and knowledge,
And
and
I know for sure one thing is there, that I think, we have just started this journey, and I know it's a journey, and probably as I'll progress in Krishna consciousness, I think it will be taken care of. But, since I'm taking baby steps, if you can help me and, to do a little better. Thanks.
yeah. So I'll actually share an experience from a few years ago. I don't remember which company it was. Yeah, I think the company name was Own the Stage. It's an international company, and we had a leadership training, and this person, she uh, came down, I think from, I don't know, Singapore maybe. She came down from there to kind of train us, and she was basically training us in how to capture the stage, etc. and address a larger audience and all of that. So she basically and this is something which struck me uh, so much, because I saw how even materially this is so important. So she told me, whenever and she was addressing everyone, she said that whenever you are talking to an audience, so first of all, they are concerned about themselves, so you don't worry that, oh, how am I looking, because people get conscious, of course. So like, they are worried about themselves, even though they are sitting in a large gathering and the eyes are on you, still they are individually worried about themselves. And what you need to do as a speaker or as someone who's addressing them is not think that, oh, how am I doing, or whether people will understand or not, whether they will like it or not. Instead of worrying about these things, if you simply have the attitude that, oh, I'm here to share something, not to take something. I'm not trying to take their adoration. I'm not trying to take something else, right? I'm here to share something so that they are helped. with that kind of a mindset, and it struck me so much because that's the devotional principle, that when you are actually going and speaking, it's not about you, it's not about gaining followers, it's not about you know uh, having that high seat or things in the minds of the people. It's about what can you give to help others. If you go with that attitude, and not that we only have to offer results to Krishna, but the very act can be for Krishna, right? If the very act is surrendered to Krishna, I mean, I know it's right now in a theory, it's in practically when we try to do that. What I really appreciate, Preeti, you did was you reminded, and that's the first step. And like you rightly said, it's a journey. And this first step is not gone unnoticed. Krishna has noticed. The next time you do it, maybe you'll move a little inch ahead, right? The road is maybe miles and miles, but even if you move little inches ahead, Krishna sees that effort. He sees that, oh, you're struggling to move towards him. And suddenly one day, he'll probably send you a sports car to take you on the other side very, very quickly. So, yeah, I mean, it's a journey. And there are times where we are also tested. So slow and steady, I think that's the way to go about it. But also with an attitude that, uh, how can I do this for Krishna, and how can I help others? I think that'll ease some pressure. That has worked for me. I don't know about you can try that maybe.
Sure, I'll do that. So see, that's what I'm saying. I tried before the program, and I understand that, so the first part, whatever you shared, I mean, I appreciate you sharing, but that's, you're working at logical level of mind, which is fine, and that's what you do. You change your self-talk. So my only thing was that I tried surrendering it to Krishna, which I don't think so I managed to do, though I was telling myself, but in my action, in my feeling, it was not there, because the reason that I was anxious was that I'm taking the load on myself, that I am responsible for the result, and it's a very, very high stake program, and it has to go well at any cost. That was my thought. So that's what I'm saying, that, even I remembered what we talked about last time, even if I tried to apply, but in my head, I'm still anxious because I have not been able to surrender completely. I'm just saying I'm surrendering,
Sure.
but I could not. In my head, I'm thinking I am responsible, and because, in my organization, I'm representing my organization, and the team has told me it's a very high stake program, and the HR lady has told me it's a very high stake program. It's a very senior top leadership team. So I am under that pressure because I'm responsible for the results, and if something goes wrong, then obviously I'll be held accountable internally. So this is what I'm talking is absolutely materialistic world conversation.
Sure.
Now I am okay with that because it's been 16 years, so you've been handling. My question is that I could not handle it spiritually. That's where my struggle was, that I wanted to feel and experience that in my body and in my experience, that okay, Krishna, it is Krishna who's doing it, and Krishna is just will take care of the results. I should be okay, I should just prepare. But ऐसा नहीं हुआ. That's so I hope that sports car will come someday.
Yeah.
And I'll till the time continue chanting and probably relook at what I'm talking to myself and my thought process.
Yeah, it's it takes time, and this is also kind of directly connected to our ego, which is the last thing to go. It's the last thing to leave us, right? That, oh, I am the one who's doing it, or I'm the controller. If I don't do it, how will it happen, right? So it's very difficult.
Yeah, because in materialistic world, this is where you start with now, because if I'm the trainer for a program, it's a high stake program. If something goes wrong, I'll be the first person to, I mean, my boss can also come to me, hey Preeti, what happened? Though he's a very nice guy, but he can come and ask me, and he has all the valid reasons to ask me. So that's what I'm saying. My conversation which I'm sharing is materialistic, and yes, in that sense, that I don't know whether it is ego or whether it is my sense of accountability for something which I'm catering to.
I'm talking about sense of account, and not in a negative way. I'm just saying accountability itself. Comes from the fact that, oh, I am the one who's doing it, and of course, I have to be accountable for it, etc. In
Yeah.
fact, Draupadi, who's such a great devotee of the Lord, she's a friend of Lord, and when the whole pastime of the Chirharan was taking place, she was trying to hold it from her own strength when Dushasan, who had the strength of 10,000 elephants, was trying to pull her sari, right? And she was first trying to catch it, hold it from her entire body. She was putting all her strength. She was not able to. She was then putting, even holding the saris in her teeth, trying her best, right? And then she realized that it's not working, not happening, right? No matter how hard I try, I have to just give it up to Krishna. And it's not just words that I say or I think, but genuinely I feel. And that's when Krishna immediately came and supplied everything. So yeah, I mean, it takes time. Even when we talk of examples like Draupadi, so we are not even born yet in spiritual life in that case. So yeah, it takes time. It takes time. Parthapriya Prabhu, you want to add anything here? If you're still around.
Hare Krishna. Yes, actually, it's an amazing experience that Preeti was sharing. It's not easy actually to even introspect and look at yourself and analyze and how we are probably not able to live up to a certain standard of practice. So that, as what you're saying, that in itself is like a very big thing. For a living entity, actually, there are so many deep-rooted desires, and it's naturally there. Just like because we are in this material world, and we are conditioned for so many lifetimes with so many material desires, for so many things, for recognition, adoration, controllership, and all of these things. It's by default there in a living entity. And a living entity, when he is in the spiritual world, it's just completely the opposite. And what does opposite mean? It means that controllership is not there. There is servitude. I want to serve the Lord. There is no sense of recognition, because the only thing that devotee thinks is Krishna is the one who needs to be recognized, and how I can in every way serve him. So, in the purified stage, the living entity is actually Krishna conscious, which means that he's always thinking of Krishna and how I can serve him. And therefore, his only thing in the mind that comes to him is what best I can do. And there is nothing wrong in thinking that I'm accountable and this should be done nicely. There's nothing wrong in that. That has to be there. But at the same time, we need to have that consciousness, as we were rightly saying, that I'm doing this for Krishna, for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, and not for myself. But that requires like purification of our desires, because the desires by default are materialistic in nature. And then gradually over a period of time, then that gets purified when we start thinking I'm doing this for the Supreme Lord and not for myself. And then we, in that consciousness, do the best we can do, and then leave the result to the Supreme Lord. And in that sense, we are not even affected by the result, whether it's good or bad. Even if it doesn't really come out to be, very, very successful, we did our best, in our capacity.
I think just to add to that, just a few things or thoughts came to mind. So what we also need to do, actually, this will come through experience, to be honest, Preeti. And this is the experience of Krishna's reciprocation. So the more you actually receive Krishna's reciprocation, the more confidence you'll have, the more you'll be able to let go of things and actually depend on the Lord, and you'll be at peace. So this will come out of experience from reciprocation. And why I'm saying this, so I remember, and I mean, these are very short, small examples, but this how slowly and steadily, step by step, at least I built my own faith, right? Because once you have a reciprocation, you establish that faith that okay, if I do this, I won't be in a soup, etc. So I remember, when my college days, when I used to actually, I had recently got a deity of the Lord at home, and I used to dress them early in the morning. So from 6 to 7, 7:15, I would dress them, and the flowers would come at a certain time. So I would actually wait for the flowers to decorate the altar very, very nicely before leaving for college. My college started at 7:15. And it was, a little far away from Juhu to Bandra, etc., like that. So it would take some time to reach there. But then I would still spend up till 7:15, decorating my altar. And literally, it was a rule that anybody because early in the morning, I was in a fine arts college. So it was a rule that every morning, 7:15, you start sketching. And there was a half an hour dedicated for, creating like 20, 30, 40 sketches, the first thing in the morning. So I would take my own time, then go to college. And it was a rule from the principal that anyone who even came 10 minutes late had to go through the principal's office, then to the classroom to, continue, because, it was critical that everyone attended at time. And I was particularly late every single day because I was busy doing this and I had given up. I like, no, I'm doing this. I recently got Krishna. I am decorating Krishna no matter what, right? So I took that risk. I gave that, put that faith in the Lord, and not even a single day I had to go through the principal's office. It's a very small example, but such episodes slowly and steadily will build your faith, right? And then you'll be able to rely on Krishna more and more. He's there. He'll take care. So you'll be able to peacefully rely on him. So you need to have these experiences, and that'll come slowly and steadily. The more and more you practice nicely, I think that also is, I think, a key thing. Getting that reciprocation from the Lord. All right. Yeah. So can we move on to today's session? Yeah, it's almost 12:15. Very interesting discussion. So Krishna is here saying that there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to senses and their objects. One should not come under control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks in the path of self-realization. So here Krishna is saying principles to regulate attachment, which is understandable that we should not be too attached and therefore there is regulation needed. Why aversion was the question I was asking. Why do you think Krishna is saying aversion pertaining to senses and their objects? Anyone?
May I attempt?
Yes, please.
I think, if you look at attachment or aversion, strong likes and dislikes, I think you're still stuck with something to do with your senses. So if you achieve that equanimity of mind, when you establish yourself in Krishna consciousness, then you will not have any strong liking or strong disliking. You'll be neutral.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of exactly there, but a little bit here and there. So you're right when you say that attachment and aversion actually are two sides of the same coin. So too much attachment or too much aversion, even too much aversion denotes too much attachment at the same time. If you're attached, you're trying to like run away even more. If you intelligently know that I cannot do this, you'll be running away even further, right? But somebody who's actually, like you rightly said, establishing Krishna consciousness, has established themselves in Krishna consciousness, he will be indifferent, right? Indifferent is the word. So even if it's there, it's not there, or okay, there is something material, I am not averse to it. Rather, I will think, how can I use this in service of Krishna? So that's called Yukta Vairagya, right? How to use something in service of Krishna. We've spoken about this quite a few times. And then he says, one should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks in the path of self-realization. So let's see what Prabhupada writes in the Prabhupada. Those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of revealed scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is a cause of material engagement. But one who follows the rules and regulations of revealed scriptures does not become entangled by the sense objects. So it's very simple. Senses, if let loose and uncontrolled, it's like your, gas cylinder. You have the CNG gas inside. Oh, CNG is used for cooking. But if you let it loose, unrestricted flow hote raho, right? Then what will happen? Even a small spark will cause the fire. But when it's regulated, it's stored in a certain condition in liquid format, LPG, for example, right? It's stored in that condition, and in a very regulated manner. You have a regulator on the gas, right? In a very regulated manner, you try to pass that, release that gas into the burner so that you can actually start cooking. And there also, you regulate. Kabhi right? You don't regulate, the food will be burnt. Or if you don't regulate, the house will be on fire. So regulation is extremely important, right? And when you regulate, you can actually do wonderful things. So otherwise people say, one life, you have to enjoy, no restrictions, etc. It is good to hear. It may sound good, but when actually someone tries to do, they are miserable, because the world has been designed in such a way, right? So devotees, somebody who's establishing Krishna consciousness, he doesn't need to worry about following the rules and regulations, because he's already established, and he's unaffected in one sense. But those who are not established, right, they should strictly follow the rules and regulations from the revealed scriptures, and because unrestricted sense enjoyment is cause of material engagement, right? For example, sex enjoyment is a necessity for conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties, right? So this is an urge. If it's somebody cannot control, there is an institution of marriage for the same, right? So according to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationship with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationship with other women. These propensities are to be curbed. Otherwise, they'll be stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So, if you have illicit relationship, of course, your spiritual life is not going to progress. It's going to go south. As long as the material body is there, the necessities of material bodies are allowed, but under rules and regulations. And yet, we should not rely upon upon the control of such allowances. So, not that fine, in the institution of marriage you're allowed, etc. So you can go crazy with your wife, etc. Or say for example, a certain food is allowed. Okay, I am not eating onion garlic, but I'm allowed regular food. So should I start eating uncontrollably? No, right? So you should not rely upon the control of such allowances. Rather, you should also be self-aware and conscious. So one has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulation may also lead one to go astray, right? Again, one has to follow these rules and regulations unattached to them, right? Not being too attached to the rules and regulations also, in the manner that, oh, I don't understand the principles behind the rules and regulations, but I am just blindly trying to follow the rules and regulations. So that is called as ritual, right? It is not spiritual, because the spirit is missing. So we need to understand the spirit behind certain rules and regulations, and stick to that, keep that spirit alive, not just follow it ritualistically for the sake of doing it, and not being too attached also, and that's what happens, in a lot of spiritual organizations or even religious organizations. They become too attached to, the rules and regulations. Hey, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Right? Without even knowing why such rules and regulations are need to be followed, they try to enforce it, without discrimination, without understanding the time, place, circumstance, or the actual spirit behind following these. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our scriptures, our acharyas, they give us the mother of all principles. Right? What is the mother of all principles? All the rules and regulations. What is the spirit behind it? Right? Always remember Krishna. That's one. And second is never forget Krishna. So these are the mother of all principles in Krishna consciousness, or the father of whatever, right? The main thing to keep in mind. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. So all the other principles are subservient or servants of these two principles. So one has to follow the rules and regulations unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulation may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always the chance of accident even on the royal roads. So one also has to be careful, although they may be within the purview of the law or the rule, right? Like staying in the rule and still trying to game the system, trying to get what you want is all obviously kind of known to people now. Uh, you know, within the tax laws, they'll still try to cheat within the framework itself. So likewise, right? Although there are rules and regulations, just we should not read in between lines and try to still enjoy, because there is every chance of accident even on the royal roads. So even while one is quote unquote following the rule as per the book, but not really internally is not following it for the sake of it, they're trying to follow, then that may also lead to mishaps. So one has to understand the spirit behind it. One has to follow very diligently, not allow the senses to be let loose. Senses are compared to serpents. So if you are not careful, the serpent will bite you, right? So even though you are within the regulation, you still have to be very, very careful, right? Because the mind will take you 100 places, even though you might be still in that framework of following the rules. Okay. So, although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger on the safest road. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time, owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Right? Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must be avoided by all means. But attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, one should try to be detached. One should try to be detached. Okay, sorry. I think there is a. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, our path is not just detachment, but it is attachment to Krishna. So when you strongly attach yourself more and more to Krishna, detachment will follow. The Mayavadis, their process is only neti, only detached. Right? There's no attachment, so therefore they fall down. Right? They cannot maintain that detachment. But our philosophy is higher attachment. You become more and more attached to Krishna, and therefore you will automatically lose taste for the lower things in life. You won't have to struggle hard to be detached. That's the idea. So in the name of following rules and regulations, I was checking someone else when some bad activity was happening. I was there just to check. I did not do. I was there. I was looking. I was just checking. So that's also literally a fall down in one sense. So one has to be very, very careful and vigilant with your senses. So Maya is like, anyone has traveled in the local trains in Mumbai. I'm sure people not from Mumbai may not have had this experience, but the local trains of Mumbai, you have, seating place for three. And sometimes, there are some thin people, so there is some space on the edge. And the person standing, he'll say, "Arey, thoda side, I can." So you allow him, and there's literally this much space, and you allow him, and he starts sitting, and then he pushes and shoves, and slowly and steadily he occupies so much space that you are crunched, right? You did not realize when this guy literally occupied 75% of your seat, right? Without realizing this happened, right? In no time. So Maya is like that. You allow Maya this much, how it will occupy 90%, 100% of your life, when it will occupy, you won't even come to know. So one has to be very, very vigilant in terms of not letting lose your senses even within the framework of regulations. Prabhuji, you want to add something?
Just one small point, Vijay. So, just reiterating what you were saying, so to understand the spirit behind the law and the most important, the essence of all instructions to remember Krishna and not forget him. sometimes what happens amongst devotees is we might just look at other devotees and say, oh, that devotee follows this, or so it's okay, even I can do it. So that devotee may not be following the highest standard, and we might say, oh, that devotee is doing this, so let me also do it. I mean, it's fine to do such things if it's not allowed. So in the circle of devotees, sometimes we might compare and look and say, it's okay, even they do it. It's okay, even they eat outside. It's okay if, So we might just take it very leniently. So we must be careful and understand that the rules and regulations are there for a higher purpose, and that purpose is that we actually develop love for the Supreme Lord. We develop in our Krishna consciousness. So not becoming very rigid just with the rules and regulations, but trying to understand the spirit behind them. So the idea is that is where the rules and regulations are there, not just to stick to it, for the sake of sticking to it. So it's like both sides. Sometimes we are just stuck to the principles, not realizing the higher goal, and sometimes we are just not at all caring for it because we feel anyways koi kar nahi raha, theek hai. So both sides, it's like a catch.
And Krishna is saying, Manusha Nam Sahasreshu, out of many, many millions of people, one may try to understand him. And out of millions of those who are trying to understand him, one may actually know him in truth. Right? Sorry, out of millions of those who are trying to understand him, one may strive for perfection. And out of the millions who strive for perfection, one may actually achieve it. So it's very rare. So you may find a lot of people, even practicing Krishna consciousness, including myself, sometimes very lax, not 100% following things. So everyone has their own pace. That's one. Everyone has their own defects, but at the same time, you should not take the bad example and think it's okay, like Roji was just saying. So it's rare, right? So you can be the one if you have that attitude of that yes, I want Krishna no matter what, whatever the price I have to pay, I want Krishna, right? Tatrapi lolyam api ekatra mulyam. If you're eager, if you're greedy to achieve Krishna, you will get it. That's the price you pay. Lolyam, the greed. Lolyam is greed. If you have greed to attain Krishna or to serve Him, right? Only then you will be able to come back to God. If that greed is missing, and we have to develop that greed. Not that it's right there, right now. You have to develop that greed by associating with people who are greedy, right? Spiritual greed. So yeah. Okay, it's already 12:31. Should we stop here? Should we maybe take some questions and then move on? Roji, you want to add something else?
I really like the point you made last. Greedy for, I mean, we should try and associate with devotees who are greedy for that, developing the love for the Lord. So when you were saying that, it was just coming to my mind that sometimes, like we might see the negatives in others. We often tend to do that, fault finding. We should always try and look the best in every devotee and take the best out of each devotee. Some devotees might be good in book distribution, some devotees might be good in speaking, some devotees might be good in maybe kirtan, some devotees. So there are like so many different varieties of services in which a devotee can be engaged, and we should try and take the best from each person. Be greedy to learn from everyone instead of looking at because everyone has their speciality. I think Preeti was asking this a couple of classes ago, that we are all blessed with a certain skill set or a certain way in which our nature. So everyone is unique in one sense, and everyone can uniquely serve the Supreme Lord, and no one is the same. So we will definitely not find people to be serving in the same way. And Krishna is all attractive, which means he attracts all kinds of people. So therefore, we can try and take the best out of every devotee. If one is greedy for that, then surely he's going to succeed.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Thank you so much, Roji, for sharing that. Any other thoughts? Anyone? Any reflections or questions? We can take that for the next 5-10 minutes.
May I ask,
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, what are your thoughts on, like in this book, it says that the relationship should be under the ties of marriage and husband and wife. What about living relationship?
So yeah, I think as Kali Yuga progresses, the features of Kali will be visible to our eyes more and more. Is one of them. What can I say?
Mhm. Because if Krishna is for everybody, that means this Krishna is for Western people also, and they believe in living relationship. If everybody gets attracted to Krishna, those people will also get attracted to his
Yeah,
spirituality and Krishna consciousness. So I don't think so. But of course, I'm not blaming them, but I want to understand where Gita stands here.
yeah, sure. So yes, Krishna is unlimitedly merciful, and
Hmm.
the most fallen can be transformed, right? And that's what Srila
Yeah.
did. So when he went to the West, I think his first set of disciples, Mukunda Prabhu and Janaki, before they got initiated, or rather the day they got initiated, Prabhupada told them, they were living together, live in relationship, because they were hippies, right? So Prabhupada told them, why are you living like animals? Animals, they live, randomly, anywhere, anytime. The dog you'll see, they'll go behind a she dog, and they have no discrimination. So then Prabhupada himself, being a sannyasi has nothing to do with anybody getting married, etc. But being their guru, and even though he was a sannyasi, he actually conducted their marriage ceremony. Right? So so mercifully and patiently and tolerating, Srila Prabhupada actually step by step trained. Imagine how difficult it was for Srila Prabhupada to train Westerners.
Yeah.
Train even one person like that, so much of blood and sweat goes. Even one person like that, right? I don't know if you would have tried this. I have. Even one person, forget a Westerner, even Indian, just to train one person, it takes so much of sweat and blood. Prabhupada had 10,000 disciples. He was training them not just in a simple standard of don't have illicit sex, but in standards of deity worship, which is so much more intricate, so many additional rules and regulations to follow. If you've taken a bath and if you touch something even unclean, touched by someone else, you again have to go and take a bath before you can go in the altar and touch the deities. That's the standard of temple worship, of course, right? uh, Cannot even pick your phone and nothing, right? So to teach the highest standards like that to one person again is very, very difficult, especially somebody in the Western body, right? But imagine Prabhupada trained so many thousands of such people, at the same time wrote so many books, at the same time traveled the globe 14 times, at the same time constructed 108 temples, right? At the same time answered each and every one, hundreds of letters they wrote, at the same time engaged with people in general, did festivals, spoke to dignitaries from the government, etc. Just it's unimaginable. We cannot even do 1% of that, if we struggle throughout the day, right? Day in, day out. The kind of work Srila Prabhupada did in those few years in the end, right? 11 years. So yeah, I mean it's it's impossible to follow their schedule even for a day. But nonetheless, we should definitely follow in their footsteps, and appreciate what they've left for us, or what they've given, and try to follow those instructions step by step. So yes, to answer, you know, if they come in touch with Krishna, Krishna will transform their heart slowly and steadily. Not that it will happen overnight, but slowly and steadily, and they will realize what they're doing, and maybe not continue, like cats and dogs, but actually get married, etc., or whatever it may lead to. Is that okay?
Yeah.
But if someone is already intelligent, understands the science of Krishna consciousness, trying to study Bhagavad Gita, should be intelligent and not get into these things.
Yeah. It's mentioned in the book that under marriages act or marriages tie. But what about Islamic region? They do for marriages.
So yeah, I mean,
But I'm not against them. But it's a question in my mind when I read that line that the relationship should be under the marriage, and other woman is like a mother or a sister.
yeah. So I cannot comment so much on Islam, but yeah, I mean, even in olden times, the kings or the Kshatriyas were
Yeah.
more number of wives because they could give that shelter. If you can give that shelter, in fact, the standard as per Srimad Bhagavatam, Rishabh Dev, he describes Guru na sasyat, Pita na sasyat, he's basically describing that one should not become a guru, a father, a mother, a teacher, or a guardian, unless and until one is able to take their dependents back home, back to Godhead.
Okay.
So that is a real standard. I mean, you can say, "Oh, pig is enjoying the stool. Let me also jump inside and enjoy it." Right? What is the point, right?
May I add something here, Vijay? I think it's a very interesting question which he has asked about Islam.
Sure.
And, in fact, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but I've read somewhere that even Krishna had 16,000 queens. And the only reason he did this is because he had to give shelter to them. That's all. And even in Islam, because I had a Muslim friend and I remember once I spoke with him, so he said, people kind of don't know the complete information, so therefore they say that. So he says, even in Islam, again, I'm not the authority, I don't know, but I've heard, they say that actually it is one marriage only when they say, if you see a woman who's in distress or has some challenge, then as a husband, if you can, kind of as a person, you can get married and take care of her. So it is only more from the thought or the intent behind is to give shelter, but not to, just because you want to have illicit sex and you want to enjoy life. So even kings, they would do that because of that reason, or there was some political reason they would do that.
So,
That's
But
what
I'm
I've
sure
heard.
they must
Yeah.
be having a physical relationship with all the wives.
Oh yes, they must be.
primary reason.
Yeah, but the intent behind an action is more important. So the intent was not illicit sex. That's what I'm saying. And I think that goes, in fact, sorry, even if we see Gita, I think, or Krishna or anything in life, I think intent is where you start. So it doesn't matter even if I offer only a glass of simple water by putting one tulsi leaf to Krishna, my intent is very strong that I want to offer that with love today.
Yeah.
So two things. One is, of course, we cannot compare Krishna, in a material sense that, okay, yes, he accepted to give shelter.
Yes.
But at the same time, we should understand that actually Krishna is the only Purusha, right? He's the only enjoyer. And he has relationships with, all the Jivatmas. And how many Jivatmas are there? Unlimited. Millions.
Yeah.
These are just numbers. These are unlimited Jivatmas. And each and every Jivatma has a very specific relationship with Krishna or wants Krishna in a specific relationship. So some people want to be, they see Krishna as a child. Some people see Krishna as a friend. Some people see Krishna as, the Lord and Master of the universe. Some people see Krishna as, their lovers. So Krishna is Atmaram. He doesn't need anything, right? He's self-satisfied. He can enjoy within himself. He doesn't need anything, anybody, right? But at the same time, just to fulfill our desires, that there are these people who see Krishna as their lovers, or who want that kind of relationship with the Lord. So Lord is simply fulfilling their desires. And not just 16,108, there could be millions and trillions of such souls. So, and Krishna is not bound by the limited sense of morality, or the rules and regulations and laws of our limited brains. But it's on a higher level, and it's difficult for us to comprehend also in terms of, just to put it simply, everyone has an individual relationship, and Krishna is just fulfilling that.
Yeah, I also heard that all those queens wanted him as his partner. So that's the reason he fulfilled the desire for all those thousands of people.
So 16,108 is not, the real number. Trillions, in trillions. Yeah. Okay. And I think one more point I forgot, which I wanted to address, which Preeti, I think you mentioned, but anyways, maybe next time. I'm not able to remember that. Okay. Prabhu, you want to add something or any other points, anyone?
Announcement of Bhadra Purnima.
Oh, yes.
So this day after tomorrow, we have already some devotees who have purchased Bhagavatam sets. Our Krishna Prabhu has already received 2 Bhagavatam sets, which he took for himself. A few other devotees have also taken. So it's very auspicious day, the 20th, Bhadra Purnima. It said that someone actually gives a Srimad Bhagavatam to someone on this day, then he's sure to go back home, back to Godhead. So, like we were saying last time, Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. And most of us, I believe, do not have a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam at home. So we can try and maybe gift ourselves the Srimad Bhagavatam. It has all the pastimes of the Lord, Lord Krishna, and not just the Lord, but also his devotees. So we get pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and many other pastimes which we very often quote in the classes. So it's a voluminous book. It comes in 12 cantos, about 18 volumes in English. And Prabhupada said that every gentleman should have a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam at their home.
And gentle ladies also.
Yes. So it'll be nice if each one of us can have a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll post the message again maybe in the groups today, and you can get in touch with us if you'd like to have a copy. It's available in all languages: English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, other regional languages as well.
Right. I think, I mean, it's the most important thing actually. These are, like I was describing last time, these are the spiritual encyclopedia, literally, right? And if you have it, you will definitely open it and read it sometime. So even reading, Srila Prabhupada describes about Krishna book and Srimad Bhagavatam. So he said, if somebody just reads one chapter, his life will change. Then he's corrected himself. No, if somebody reads one page, his life will change. Then he corrected himself again. If someone reads one line, and then he said even one word, because it's Krishna, no matter from which side you bite, it's nectarian, and even a word, is so potent. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he used to read his own books and ask his disciples to read his own books, and he would hear. So one disciple asked, Prabhupada, why are you hearing your own books? You've written this. So Prabhupada said, actually, Krishna came and dictated all these Bhaktivedanta purports, right? And therefore, even when I read, I feel I'm learning, or I'm hearing and I'm feeling bliss, because these are words of Krishna, not my words, right? So it's Krishna directly speaking to you. You can have that at your home. It's non-different from Krishna. The first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is described as the lotus feet of Krishna, and progressively the other cantos are described as different. The meditation is actually you take darshan from the charan and then you move upwards to the face of the Lord. The 10th canto is described as the face of the Lord, like that. So there are total 12 cantos, and it may take you a year if you read 40 pages a day. If it may take you 5 years if you read maybe 8 to 10 pages a day, something like that. So it's a very, very voluminous book. The idea is not to finish as soon as possible. The idea is to relish, right? Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam, right? So it's literally nectar which you can relish day in, day out. And no matter you've not finished Bhagavad Gita, you can still have the copy, so that it becomes like a goal for you. So just like you may be studying in school, but you have a goal, I have to become an engineer, and then, or maybe a doctor or a scientist, whatever, and you actually plan your entire career, for the next 5, 10 years or 12 years. Similarly, this is spiritual career planning, right? You have Bhagavatam, then you have Bhagavad Gita, then you have Srimad Bhagavatam, then there is Chaitanya Charitamrita, like that. So step by step, unless you have the books, you won't be able to read them. Simple. So everybody should actually have a set, everyone. If you don't have it, please get it.
Is there a consolidated one also in one book?
Consolidated one, there is a Bhagavatam stories book, but our recommendation is study the entire Bhagavatam, because Prabhupada has given his purports, and each purport right carries the capacity to change your life.
Hey,
So
I have this, but I wanted to know about the consolidated one also.
condensed version is just in a story format. You can know the stories, but there are so many hidden jewels. So Bhagavatam is described like an ocean.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I know that. Yeah.
let me finish the example. Sorry, Bhagavatam is described like the ocean, and there are different jewels in the ocean. There's so much wealth inside the ocean, right? People are trying to explore. So there are these jewels and treasures in the ocean, which are nothing but these prayers by different devotees. So when you have the bigger copy, you get to go through in detail those prayers and all those things. Otherwise, there's a condensed story format given to you where you miss out all of this. So you get to understand the stories for sure, and maybe you can have that also, just to get a quick overview. But the larger version is very, very nectarian, and you actually get to relish a lot of these things which I just mentioned.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. I wanted to know that because I want to give it to my son so that he carries it when he is traveling.
Sure. So there is a condensed version of Srimad Bhagavatam in a story format written by Purna Pragya Prabhu. So it's still a bigger book and a thick book. So yeah, I mean, stories can be at least found there in a very, very concise manner.
When he is back home, he can read this, and then when he is traveling, he can take the other one.
Sure, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think I just remember the point I wanted to address, Preeti. You were mentioning about the intention. Even if you offer one glass of water and a tulsi leaf, yes. In fact, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes, advancement in spiritual life depends on the attitude of the follower. So intention and attitude, right? So if I have, I'm a millionaire, but I still continue offering one glass of water with tulsi leaf only, and I enjoy a big meal, with 10, 20 items myself, that also speaks volumes on the attitude, right? So the attitude should be whatever I have, the best I should offer. And if my best is only water and tulsi, so be it. All right. So I think Narayani Mataji is not here. So Narayani Mataji, okay. Yeah.
Yesterday, she's not there. She told me she has some important work, so she's unable to attend.
Okay. So she should also receive her Bhagavatam. I'll be sending it day after tomorrow to her.
I'll inform her.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So others, I think I remember, Shelza, you wanted to contribute a little bit if someone else is also pitching.
Yes, Prabhuji. Can you just also forward the link or the number where we can, just transfer the money for our books and for others?
So how many, okay, let us take a quick poll. How many of you all here don't have a Bhagavatam copy? Please raise your hands.
I would like to have a consolidated one if possible.
Sure.
Otherwise, let me see whether he is comfortable. How big is that book? The single one?
Let me see if I can show you that. Maybe towards the end of the call, I'll show that to you. Is that okay?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
We are almost nearing the end. Just bear with me for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Sure. I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So practically, I can see all the hands up, but yeah, half of them are still yet to raise their hands. But I guess most of you all don't have. So I think, like So you're saying gift yourself a Bhagavatam first, then you can give to others also. So Shelza, you want to have a copy yourself and also contribute for someone else, or you want to first have?
Yeah, yeah, I'll have a copy for myself, and I want to contribute, some bit for others, someone else also.
Great, great. Okay, fine. So we'll be sharing the link also. You can probably book it yourself online, and or if people are staying nearby, just figure out who is staying in what area. If you know other people are staying close by, and if you're ordering, so I think the transport etc. might be saved. If you order from temple, I think there is a standard transport charges of 800 rupees. So I think better is that you opt for picking up the copy yourself. Even if you're not able to do so personally, you can either book a VFast or something, so that'll be slightly cheaper. Because this is going to be all India, so the temple has just put a standard price of 800 for shipping to your doorstep. So if you're living in Bombay, it doesn't make sense to spend 800 just to get it to your house. So you can opt for a pickup and either pick up yourself, or a VFast, or if 2-3 people are living in the same area, you can figure so that things can come together and that'll be more cost effective for you guys.
All right, Prabhuji, I think picking up would be good. Is the temple open? Can we also go and have darshan?
It's not open for all, but yeah, we can arrange for batches of 4 or 5 people at a time. I can take permissions and y'all can go and take darshan. So anyone
because
wanting to take
if we
darshan,
go and pick up our books, then we also go and take darshan also.
yeah, if you're going for picking up the book, I think you can easily take darshan. Not a problem.
Okay, then it is fine. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
yes. So
we are going to Memasaraya tomorrow.
Oh wow,
Memasaraya is 80 kilometers from Lucknow.
Yes. So in fact,
it's 88,000 rishis had collected together and to perform the yajna.
Yes, yes. So very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for bringing that up. Srimad Bhagavatam literally.
Sulabh is also accompanying.
So Srimad Bhagavatam literally starts, of course, there is, Bank of Ganges also, and this Naimisharanya place where, 80,000 rishis headed by Shaunak Muni, they assembled to perform yajna for the benefit of people of Kali Yuga especially. So this book is actually Krishna, he left for his abode in Dwapar Yuga, and then the question was, Krishna Swadhamo Pagate Dharma Jnana Bisaha. So he's already gone with Dharma and taking Dharma and Jnana along with him. So what will happen? So this Bhagavatam has risen like a sun on the horizon, and this is Krishna himself in the form of, the book Bhagavatam. So that's what the hope for people of Kali Yuga is, this Bhagavatam. So very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji, for bringing this up. And then they hear from, Suta Goswami, this Bhagavatam of Naimisharanya, sitting at Naimisharanya. Naimisharanya is actually considered to be the center of the universe, right? It's the hub of the universe, literally. So this is the place from where, Bhagavatam was spoken by Suta Goswami. So thank you, Prabhuji, for bringing that up. Very interesting place. In fact, there is a well in Naimisharanya. You should definitely go and check. So people have not been able to find the depths of that well. It's so deep. So they've not reached the bottom. So that's supposed to be like, a very, very nice and special place. That well, particular well also, you should have a look there. So yeah, I mean, all those people who've raised their hands, you people want Bhagavatam, so we can arrange Preeti. I think you're in Delhi. You can probably connect to the Delhi temple and have it delivered to you if you want a copy, or you can yourself also pick it up if you like. Shelza, I think Shelza, Sujata, Chinmay.
I think we will, if you can arrange a visit, because Pallavi and me are just neighbors, so we can come there. We thought we'll come to the temple one of these days. If you can arrange, that would really be good.
When do you want to go? Tomorrow?
No, not this next week. Tomorrow is a little tough. Next week.
Actually, Bhadra Purnima is on 20th. That's 2 days from now. So we can arrange a visit for you all, then also to just book it at least between today, tomorrow, or day after.
Okay, I'll let you know. Okay,
That'll
okay,
be better.
okay. Thank you.
Because there are certain discounts, etc., on the books which will remain till Bhadra Purnima. Beyond that, it might just get more expensive. So,
Okay.
all right, Subramaniam Prabhu, you
Also,
would like a copy? Subramaniam Prabhu, you want to have a copy?
Prabhuji,